I'm Matt McDonald, the new executive director. I've just been telling everybody I'm the new Valerie. That's not quite as pretty. And I've had the honor and privilege of being in this role for the last 9 months. My family and I moved here from Missouri back in the summer. I have a wife who's here tonight, and we have 4 kids, and I get to share the vision tonight for this next chapter. But I want to introduce my family to you first. When my wife and I were much younger, we were foster parents, and we had a placement, 2 little boys, Kenny on the left, Michael on the right. They were 3 and 1 biological brothers, and for the last 18 years, we adopted them later that year, and for the last 18 years, we have been their forever family. This is our family back in December. We have 2 more kids now, Lucy and Jude on the left. And Kenny and Michael are now 22 and 20 years old, living on their own out of the house. And proud dad moment, Kenny just graduated college in December with his bachelor's. Yeah. Nationwide, about 50% of adults in America get a bachelor's degree. And only 5% of former foster youth graduate with a bachelor's degree. So, as of December, Kenny is part of the 5%ers. It's our joy tonight and my honor to talk about who is Help One Child. Some of you are new and haven't heard about Help One Child. This is your first event you've come to. Thank you for being here. Some of you have been helping with this organization for decades. Let me just give you a short little snippet. There's more information on the table. But we are all about strengthening families impacted by foster care and adoption. And we do that through the local church. And we're currently doing that in 10 counties. And so in the last 5 or 6 years, the organization has grown from the peninsula and South Bay to the city, to North Bay, to East Bay, and even Sacramento. And so there's been a lot of growth and expansion, which is wonderful. We do lots of different things. We specialize in training, Christian training that's trauma responsive, attachment aware. We do conferences. We're doing a summer camp, and we do monthly support groups. We call them connection groups for the parents and the kids to come together with some people that are going through similar things and find encouragement. All right, so that's Help One Child in a nutshell. When Mark and Joanne started this organization 33 years ago, it was with a heart to encourage Christians to serve and love vulnerable kids and to be committed to them for the long haul. So one of the things Joanne said in the early years of Help One Child, in the 90s, she said, if this child can't be reunited with their biological family, we will be their family. And it's this mindset of sticking with kids who are typically not stuck with and loving them well for a long period of time, as we've seen with the Zeislers and Jalen and our family. And there's many, many other families that have done a similar thing. In my research, I recently stumbled across a website that is messing with me. It's CaliforniaKidsConnection.org. It's a state-sponsored database where kids in the foster care system who will not be reunited are put on this website because their 2 options are finding an adoptive family or aging out of the foster care system at 18. There's bios, pictures, and even a Child of the Week spotlight. That's the website. This website should not exist. It's heartbreaking. And it also lights a fire in my gut to do whatever we can to show love to these kids. Does it light a fire in anyone else's gut? That website? If you know anything about foster care, you're not supposed, kids' privacy is protected. You're not supposed to show pictures of them. This is how desperate it's gotten. The state has a website with their faces, just begging people, please consider adopting these kids. It's actually kind of shocking, as someone who's been involved in foster care and adoption for a long time, that website exists. And so, the heart of Jesus in Matthew 9, when he sees that the crowds are harassed and helpless, he's moved with compassion. And then he acts out of love and serves those people. In Romans 15, Paul says, welcome others as Jesus welcomed you. That is who Help One Child is. We are trying to stand in the gap for these kids who are vulnerable and in need of love and family. That's not changing tonight. The heart and the mission of the organization will continue into the new chapter. I'm going to show you just real quick. We've added up some numbers just from the last 3 months, from all of our different trainings and connection groups and events that we've had already in 2026. We've had 192 parents and 140 kids served. And we launched a registration for a family camp that's happening this summer and didn't know if anyone would even sign up. And registration was closed within 3 weeks, and we're full, and we have a wait list, and there's almost 190 people signed up for our family camp. So on your table is a 33 years of impact. Before we jump into the new chapter, we want to say thank you to the legacy of 33 years of this organization. It's pretty incredible, the numbers, how many people have been impacted. So here's what I'd like to do. If you have, in the last 33 years, helped in any way, donated, volunteered, worked, board, etc., would you please stand? If you have helped in any way in the last 33 years, please stand. All right, round of applause. It's a team effort. Okay, everyone can sit down unless you started the organization or worked for it for more than 20 years. Where's Judy? There she is. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Mark and Joanne. All right, tonight we're saying goodbye to the name, if you did not know, of Help One Child.
Help two kids?
But as we say goodbye to the name, we are all the more committed to carry on the spirit of this amazing organization. For the last 6 months, our staff of 7 have been doing a needs assessment and meeting with all the counties and families that we serve and trying to just ask, what are the needs right now? What's going on? What are the trends? What's being missed? One, to make sure that we're actually stepping into the areas of need as an organization, but also, what does the future look like? And so, some of the things we've learned from that is there's more and more a need for post-adoption support services. There's resources when you're fostering, but when you adopt, the resources are much less or none. And sometimes those kids need those support services even more after they're adopted than when they're actually in the system. And so
So do the parents.
and so do the parents, absolutely. Because it's not like, oh, you adopt. I have some friends here that are about to celebrate Adoption Day for a little kid they've been fostering in June. It's not like once Adoption Day happens, then all your troubles go away and it's smooth sailing. It's actually not how it works. So the other trend that we've learned is there are a whole lot of older teens and young adults, like ages 15 to 24, who are emancipating or aging out of the foster care system with very little support in their lives. The statistics around this are sobering. 1 out of 2 of these former foster youth will become addicted to a substance. 1 out of 3, this is nationwide, will end up on the streets, and almost half will be in prison by 21. Just for some reference, you hear a lot about combat veterans coming back and struggling to reintegrate into society and end up homeless, right? Nationwide, 4% of combat veterans end up on the streets. 40% of former foster youth end up on the streets, 10 times more than combat veterans. So, our vision is that every child in foster care in the Bay Area receives a long-term, loving family or community, no one emancipating at 16 and having to figure it out on their own, like Deshaun did, our East Bay regional manager. No one aging out of the system at 18 or 21, all alone. So, our board made a bold decision. And they're sitting here among you tonight. And they started this journey before I was here. So I just get to come in on the tail end. They decided to change our name for a number of reasons, but one of them is because as we say yes to serving more teens and young adults, like we're talking 21, 22, 23-year-olds, we realized we probably need to take child out of our name to reach those young adults. And so we have a new name that we're revealing tonight, and I'm going to explain to you. And we're excited about it as a staff and a board. It's a new direction, but it's with that same heart. Still working with foster kids in foster care, and those that are adopted, post-adoption services, but also doubling down on those older teens and young adults. How do we come around them as an organization? How do we encourage local churches, donors, all of our people to help us with this? So, you ready? Drum roll, please. We are, starting right now, called Grafted Families. I don't know why you're clapping, you haven't heard anything about it yet. In the world of trees, grafting is a powerful, delicate art of joining 2 distinct plants so they grow as one. A young branch full of potential, but lacking a support system, is joined to a deep, established tree with roots. The roots provide the nourishment, the branch bears fruit. They don't become the same plant, they retain their own identity, but they share one life-giving system. They survive and they thrive together. So our vision at Grafted Families We believe this metaphor holds the perfect truth for Bay Area youth in foster care. And for this new chapter, we're focusing on the power of permanency, doubling down on the long haul and caring for vulnerable children. No child should grow up without a forever root system, and no young adult should have to face the complexities of life alone. Our goal is to bridge the gap between the foster care system and a flourishing adult life. So there are two types of grafting that relate to this name choice. There is traditional grafting into a family, adoption, where we're going to work tirelessly to identify and support permanent loving adoption placements for children. We believe every child deserves a family they can rely on forever. That's the traditional grafting analogy. There's another type of grafting called approach grafting into community. For youth transitioning out of the system at age 18, grafting takes on a new meaning. Our goal is to build a network of mentors around them that acts as their extended family. We provide the stable roots they can lean on as they grow into their own future. What is a flourishing adult life, you may ask? Well, it starts with healing from childhood trauma, learning to take responsibility as adults, finding a job or a calling that you love, being surrounded and supported by a loving community, friends and family. And it's discovering that a flourishing life is one where Jesus is the tree, and we all are the branches. He is our source of life, and he invites us into his family and uses adoption language for that relationship. And then he never leaves us, a father to the fatherless. So at Grafted Families, we envision a future where, by God's grace and our collective effort, these children and young adults break the generational cycles of trauma, and dare I say it, that they become the future foster and adoptive parents for the next generation. We are Grafted Families because everyone needs a place to take root. So, our very talented and amazing graphic designer, Micah, came up with this logo. And the icon is symbolic. There's a tree in the middle that's been grafted. There's also a couple leaves that are maybe attached, maybe not, still work to be done. And then there's the circle of community and support around those families. But we purposely broke the circle because what we do a lot is we serve families who actually support other families. That's the most beautiful thing that happens in a support group, is families supporting other families. Most of the staff aren't even there. They just encourage and love each other through this journey. And so the families are actually part of the circle. And then also it's incomplete because there's still work to be done. And God has to be involved. We can't do everything. So there's an element of faith that we can do all the right things, but still be reliant on the Lord. Okay, that's the new name, that's the new logo. Are we good on time? Okay. There's going to be a lot more that will come out with the rebrand. Hopefully, you will see more. We're going to send out letters, and it'll take us a few months to get it all out there. But new logo, we are needing 3 things from you tonight as we close. And have ice cream on the courtyard. I just want to make sure it wasn't here earlier, so yes, we are having ice cream on the courtyard. Okay. What do we need from you tonight? How can you help? 3 things. Spread the word, donate, if you can, and help us finish the logo. Okay, so first, spread the word. If you know of families that foster or have adopted, tell them about us. Send them to our website. We have lots of amazing resources. There might be a support group close to them that they could join. We have lots of trainings, like I said, camps, conferences. Join us on social media, which will be switching over to the new name at some point in the next month or 2, and watch for new rollouts for the rebrand. Yeah, keep us in mind as you talk to people out in your world. Secondly, donate. It's a fundraiser tonight. We have our fiscal year end is July 1st, so we have 2 months left basically for our fiscal year end. And we have kind of a bold goal to raise $250,000 in the next 2 months. We just received a $40,000 donation a couple weeks ago to kick that off. So we're 40 in, 210 left to go for our year-end goal. And actually, to do a lot of the things that I'm talking about tonight, especially with older teens and young adults, we'll need to hire new staff and create new programs and develop an app, and all that's going to cost money. So we're actually, our goal for the next 12 to 15 months is to raise $1 million from this work. So if you would be willing to donate tonight, we would love that. Or if you know of somebody with means and a generous heart for kids, tell them about us, please. All right, lastly, and this is the fun part. We have a black and white logo, but we actually want a color logo. And so we are passing out voting sheets to you. And we have narrowed it down to 3 color palettes. The icon is going to be some version of green, and we need y'all to vote tonight on what you think. So on the left side, we have lime green and more classic green. That's what it looks like on white and black background. In the middle is teal, and on the right side is like an earthy green. So we like them all. We're trying to decide. We'd love your input in making this decision. So if you could fill out that card. Let me explain it real quick, the card. No. So Mark asked if we're trying to get government money to reach our goal of $1 million. That's not the plan. If the government came to us and said, "Do you want money?" I don't know what we would say. We might say yes, but we're not trying to go get it. The money we raise comes from donors like you, churches, business sponsorships. Okay, so on the card, we want you to rank 1, 2, and 3. Tell us your first, second, and third choice. There's a blank above each one. So write a 1, a 2, or a 3 over each one. And you can write notes on there if you want for why you picked the colors. All right. Now, the event is officially over at 8, but I wanted to get us done early because there's ice cream. And we also have some free merch with the new logo on it if you want to take home something. And so out in the courtyard, you can turn in your voting page. You can turn in a check. You can get free merch, and you can get ice cream. And there's also still food if you want to get more food. And the bar is open for drinks. So with that, thank you for coming. You are dismissed.